Welcome. Welcome to the 8th lecture of probability theory. I am very happy to announce that all the theoretical portion which we have seen has ended this chapter. But till now, our methodology was to understand the theory and respective problems were solved. Now, all the examples will be of mixed mode. All the theoretical things which we have seen right now, we are likely to apply all those theorems with these examples. Right? Let us have some of the examples. Two dice are thrown together. Find the probability that the sum is even. It simply means that when two dice are thrown, naturally you will get two different numbers on surfaces, and if you make a sum of those two, what is the probability of getting sum as even number? Second one is sum is odd. Third one is both the digits are even, but the sum is again even. Fourth one is both the digits are odd, but the sum which we are getting is even. The product of both the digits is a perfect square. The product of both the digits is a perfect cube. And the last one is the sum is neither 7 nor 11. This many different questions are asked and we will get probability of each of them one after another. Let us see. Before starting this example, first of all, let us have a tabulated form, row-wise and column-wise. Two dice are thrown, 1 to 6 row-wise and 1 to 6 column-wise. All the cells in between of these two are to be filled up using the respective sum. A place where it is against 1 row, 1 column wise 1 and row wise 1, 1 plus 1 becomes 2, 1 against 2 becomes 1 plus 2 becomes 3. Similarly, all the places are filled up, right? Okay, now observe it. First of all, two dice are thrown. If two dice are thrown, naturally total number of possible outcome becomes 6 square. 6 square is nothing but 36. So 36 different outputs are possible. Now you just list down all the things. Total number of cases of even sum. So within this table, how many sums are even? Just count it down. 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 8, 4, 6, 8. Similarly, if you just count down each of them, the total number becomes 18. Similarly, total number of cases of odd sum, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. Similarly, if you just list out all of them, total number of cases becomes 18. Total number of cases of even digits, they are 9. Total number of cases of odd digits, they are 9. Just list it down, you will come to know. Total number of cases of one odd and one even digit becomes 18. Once you just list out all of this, now try to solve all the probabilities one after another. Probability that sum of the two digit is even. That is what the required probability is, which is nothing but a ratio. Ratio of favorable cases divided by exhaustive cases. Sum of two digit is even. How many cases are there? We have listed it just before few seconds. Number of event sum of two digit is even are 18. So 18 becomes favorable divided by exhaustive. Exhaustive cases are 36. So it comes to 18 by 36, which is 1/2. Second one, probability that the sum of two digits is odd. Again we have listed it. Favorable cases becomes 18, exhaustive cases becomes 36. By making a ratio of these two, again what we will get would be 1/2. The third question, probability that both the digits are even and sum is also even, that we have listed it as 9. In that case, 9 divided by exhaustive cases for this becomes 18. So 9 by 18, which again comes to 1/2. Probability that both the digits are odd given that sum is even. Again, number of favorable cases becomes 9, number of exhaustive cases becomes 18, so it comes to 9 by 18, which is 1/2. Now from this point onwards, what we need is a probability asked is a product. So again make a table. In that table, last time we filled all the places by sum. Now try to do it with a multiplication. So row wise 1 and column wise 1. 1 multiplied by 1 becomes 1. Row wise 1, column wise 2. 1 multiplied by 2 becomes 2. Similarly, fill all the places, all the cells. These are called cells. This becomes a table. Now let us address the next question. E. Total number of cases becomes 36 as it is as routine, in which the probability required is probability that product of two digit is a perfect square. How one will get perfect square? 1 1, 1 4, 2 2, 3 3, 4 1, 4 4, 5 5 and 6 6. These are the possibilities. Total number of cases which we have are 8. So that 8 becomes favorable cases divided by exhaustive cases. So it is 8 divided by 36. Simplifying it, it comes to 4 by 9. Next question is total number of cases of perfect cube. Perfect cube means it is 1, 8, 27, right? When one can get this 1, 8 and 27? How many different ways? If it is 1, 1, 2, 4 and 4, 2, one can get a perfect cube. So there are 3 cases. So number of favorable cases for this becomes 3 divided by exhaustive cases becomes 36. Simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 12, and that is the desired probability. Next case is total number of cases when sum is neither 7 nor 11. Both of them are negative. Not 7, not 11. Not. Since it is not, we'll put it in a form of 1 minus something. Okay. So first of all, let us get when sum becomes 7. There are 6 different ways of getting sum as 7, and they are 1 6, 2 5, 3 4, 4 3, 5 2 and 6 1. So probability of getting sum 7 is 6 by 36. 6 is the favorable cases, 36 is number of exhaustive cases. Simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 6. Similarly, total number of cases when sum is 11. There are 2 ways of getting it, 6 5, 5 6. So probability that sum is 11 is 2 by 36. 2 by 36 is nothing but 1 upon 18. Now probability that sum is neither 7 nor 11, which is 1 minus probability of, in a bracket, sum of 7 minus sum of 11. Once you just remove that bracket, that negative sign will affect inner side. So it comes to 1 minus 1 upon 6 minus 1 upon 18. Further simplifying it, it comes to 7 upon 9. And that becomes the ultimate answer. Is it clear? Fine. Let us shift to a next example. Two digits are selected at random from the digits 1 to 9. Find the probability that the sum is even, the sum is odd, both the digits are even. If the sum is even, both the digits are odd. If the sum is even, their product is perfect square, and the next one is their product is perfect cube. It is almost similar that we have done it in the last case. In the last case, restriction was 1 to 6, whereas in this case, restriction is 1 to 9. Let us see. Probability that we'll get even sum is probability of even digits plus probability of odd digits. Probability of even digits. Probability of even digit is nothing but total, how many exhaustive cases are there? Total number of digits are 9, of which 2 digits are to be selected. So 9C2 becomes exhaustive cases. Among these 9 different digits, number of even digits are, there are 4. So that 4 digit becomes favorable, of which 2 of them are to be selected. So 4C2 becomes number of favorable cases. So probability of getting an even digit becomes 4C2 divided by 9C2 plus probability of odd digits. Upon it would remain same as number of digits are fixed to be 9. 2 digits are to be selected. So 9C2 becomes exhaustive cases. Fine enough. Probability of odd digits. Number of odd digits. There are 5, of which 2 of them are to be selected. That one can do it with 5C2 different way. So probability of even sum becomes 4C2 divided by 9C2 plus 5C2 divided by 9C2. This C is nothing but combination, right? And we do have a formula related it with. Simplifying it, it comes to 6 by 36 plus 10 by 36 becomes 16 by 36. 16 by 36, further simplifying it, ultimately it comes to 4 upon 9. Let us think of the other example. Probability of odd sum. Probability of one even digit and one odd digit which is equal to, one of them should be even and one of them should be odd, right? Okay. Number of even digits are 4, so it becomes 4C1. And connector is and is being multiplied, so it is multiplied by number of odd digits are 5, so it comes to 5C1 divided by total number of exhaustive cases. 9 digits are there, 2 of them are to be selected. That one can do it with 9C2 different way. So divided by it is 9C2. Simplifying it by putting all the values in a combination formula, it comes to 4 multiplied by 5 divided by 36. That means it is 20 by 36. 20 by 36, further simplifying it, it comes to 5 upon 9. Third one, probability of even digits given that sum is even. So probability is very simple. Probability of even digits divided by probability of even sum. Both the probabilities are with you. Just put it in reciprocal format, ratio format, put it in reciprocal form. So 6 by 36 multiplied by, reversing it, 9 upon 4, simplifying it, it comes to 3 upon 8. And that becomes the desired probability. Similarly, probability of odd digits given that sum is even, which is nothing but ratio of these two, probability of odd digits divided by probability of even sum. Putting it in a ratio form and then after in a reciprocal format, 10 by 36 multiplied by 9 upon 4, further simplifying it, it comes to 5 by 8. Is it clear? Let us shift to the next one. Now, probability that product of two digits drawn is a perfect square. There is only one case with the digits 1 and 4. There can be 72 different products. Let us see. Total product becomes 81 minus 9 becomes 72. Perfect squares are 4 1 and 4 9. Thus, the probability that product of two digits is a perfect square becomes 2 upon 72. Further simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 36. Next question was similar, but it was related to perfect cube. Total products are 81 minus 9 becomes 72. Perfect cubes are 1, 8, 2, 4, 3, 9. These are the three different ways one can get perfect cube. Thus, the probability that product of two digits is a perfect cube, which comes to 3 upon 72, which is equal to 1 upon 24. Is it clear? Fine enough. Let us shift to the new example. A sixth face die is so biased that it is twice as likely to show an even number as an odd number when thrown. If it is thrown twice, what is the probability that sum of the two numbers thrown is even? It's a biased die. Right? Keep it in mind. Let us solve it. Since it is a biased die, put it in a tabulated form. Probability of odd number. Probability of getting an odd number is 2 by 6, which simplifying it comes to 1 upon 3. And getting probability of an even number becomes twice likely. So it is 4 by 6. 4 by 6 is nothing but 2 upon 3. Right? Sum of the two numbers thrown is even when first throw shows odd, second throw shows again odd, then we'll get an even number. Or first throw shows even and second throw shows again even. So whether the first thing happens or a second thing happens. So the required probability is, since this connector is OR, that is to be summed up, required probability is 1 upon 3 multiplied by 1 upon 3 plus 2 by 3 multiplied by 2 by 3. Further simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 9 plus 4 upon 9 and it comes to 5 by 9, and which becomes the required and ultimate probability. Right? The next example. What is the probability that a leap year selected at random will contain 53 Sundays? Another one is a leap year selected at random will contain 53 Sundays or 53 Saturdays. Look, here the connector is OR. The third one. A non-leap year selected at random will contain 53 Sundays. Non-leap year is a key. Fourth one. A non-leap year selected at random will contain 53 Sundays or 53 Saturdays. Connector is OR with a non-leap year. A leap year selected at random will contain 52 Sundays. Fine enough. And the last one is a non-leap year selected at random will contain 52 Sundays. Fine enough. Let us see one by one. First of all, here you should be clear enough that when a year is called a leap year and when a year is called non-leap year. Let us see. In a leap year, there are 52 weeks and 2 days, which can be any one of these two different days. It can be Sunday, Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, Saturday, or a Saturday, Sunday. That there are 7 possibilities, out of which 2 possibilities contain Sunday. So the required probability is 2 by 7. Right? Think of second now. In a leap year, the probability that it has 53 Sundays is 2 by 7. In a leap year, the probability that it has 53 Saturdays becomes 2 by 7. Now, let us connect it. In a leap year, the probability that it has both 53 Sundays and 53 Saturdays. Look, connector is AND. Since the connector is AND, what is to be done? Occurrence of both the events together. Occurrence of both the events together means Sundays and Saturdays should remain together. How many options are there? There is only one case where Saturday and Sunday comes. So probability of that event becomes 1 by 7. The required probability was the connector was OR. Since the connector is OR means we are talking about union. So probability of A union B is required, which is nothing but probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. Here we have seen it, probability of A is 2 by 7, probability of B is 2 by 7 and probability of A intersection of B is 1 by 7. Putting all together, 2 plus 2 minus 1, 5, 4 minus 1 becomes 3, 3 upon 7. 3 upon 7 becomes the required probability. The next case. In case of non-leap year, there are 52 weeks plus 1 day. And this 1 day can be any one of those 7 days of a week. So the required probability is 1 by 7. Simple. Next question was, in a leap year, the probability that it has 53 Sundays. 53 Sundays means that we have just found 1 by 7. In a non-leap year, the probability that it has 53 Sundays becomes 1 by 7. Saturdays also becomes 1 by 7. In a non-leap year, the probability that it has either 53 Sundays or 53 Saturdays becomes either or. When you say either or means it is union. But in this case, since it is only 1 day, they are mutually exclusive. Since they are mutually exclusive, it is nothing but sum of individual probability, because A intersection of B may not occur at all in this case. So it is 1 by 7 plus 1 by 7 comes to 2 by 7. The next example is simplifying it. Now all the probabilities are with you, which is nothing but 1 minus 2 by 7 comes to 5 by 7. And the next one is 1 minus 1 by 7 is nothing but 6 by 7, which is simply a complement. All these probabilities which we have found, complement of it. That means it is 1 minus 2 upon 7 comes to 5 by 7, 1 minus 1 by 7 comes to 6 by 7, and that becomes a desired probability, required probability. Clear? Let us have one more example. An investment consultant predicts that the odds against the price of a certain stock will go up during the next week are 2 and 1, and the odds in favor of price remaining the same are 1 and 3. What is the probability that the price of a stock will go down during the next week? Let us see it. These are practical examples. Let A denote the event stock price will go up, and B be the event stock price will remain same. Then probability of A becomes 1 upon 3 and probability of B becomes 1 upon 4. There is a mistake, typing mistake here. Probability of B is 1 upon 4. So the probability of stock price will either go up or remain same, which is nothing but connector is or. Connector is or means it is union. So it is nothing but probability of A plus probability of B because they are mutually exclusive. So naturally it comes to 1 upon 3 plus 1 upon 4 becomes 7 upon 12. Now absolutely reverse of that. Now our intention is to get probability of stock price will either go down. What is that? That means it is 1 minus what? It may not go up or it may not remain same. That means that is what the probability which we have found. So it is 1 minus probability of A union B. That is what we have just found, which is 7 by 12. So 1 minus 7 upon 12 comes to 5 by 12. And that becomes the required probability. Clear? Next example. A chairman of a company needs to purchase 3 typewriters, each of a different brand for typing purposes. 5 brands are available, which we call it as A, B, C, D and E. If his selection of 3 typewriters is random, what is the probability that 3 will include A and B, C and D, or A, B and C? Connector and that too a semi-connectors are there, right? Let us address this example. Since A and B, C and D or A, B and C satisfy the condition of a company, the situations are possible. Hence the situation can be considered as the union of 3 events which are denoted by E1, E2 and E3. What is even? First selection is A, B, and the third selection is any other typewriter from C, D and E. E2 is C, D are fixed and any other typewriter from A, B and E. And E3 is fixed with A, B and C selection. So there are 3 different ways of selecting 3 typewriters from 5. So E1 can be selected in a 3C, one different way. Therefore, probability of E1 becomes 3C1 divided by exhaustive cases 5C3. Further simplifying it, C means combination, right? Further simplifying it, it comes to 3 upon 10. E2 follows similar pattern as E1. So probability of E2 becomes 3 upon 10. E3 can be selected in any one of the way. So probability of E3, A, B and C, selection of A, B and C, that can be done only in a single way. So it is 1 upon 10. It may be observed that probability of E1 intersection of E2 and probability of E2 intersection of E3 goes to 0 since they are mutually exclusive. But probability of E1 intersection of E3 is as same as of probability of E3. Therefore, probability of E becomes probability of E1 plus probability of E2 plus probability of E3 minus probability of E1 intersection of E3. As E1 intersection of E2 and E2 intersection of E3 goes to 0, that part is skipped off. All these probabilities are known to us by putting it all together. 3 upon 10 plus 3 upon 10 plus 1 upon 10 minus 1 upon 10. Further simplifying it, it comes to 3 upon 5. That is the required probability. Let us have next example. A drawer contains 50 bolts and 150 nuts. Half of the bolts and half of the nuts are rusted. If one item is chosen at random, what is the probability that it is rusted or is a bolt? Let us define it. Let us define event A as getting rusted item and event B as getting bolts. So probability of A is getting rusted item. Rusted items are 50% of 50 bolts becomes 25. 50% of 150 nuts, that means 75. 75 plus 25 becomes 100. So this comes to 100 divided by total number of elements, which are 200. So it comes to 100 upon 200. Probability of B means getting bolts. Number of bolts are 50. So it comes to 50 by 200. Now probability of A intersection of B, rusted items and getting bolts. Rusted item and getting bolts, they are nothing but product of these two. 100 divided by 200 multiplied by 50 divided by 200. Simplifying it, it comes to 25 upon 200. The required probability is connector is OR. Since connector is OR, union is needed. So probability of A union B is probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. So it is 100 upon 200 plus 50 upon 200 minus 25 upon 200. Simplifying it, it comes to 125 by 200, which is 5 by 8. And that is the required probability. Next example. A lot contains 10 items, of which 3 are defective. 3 items are chosen from a lot at random, one after another, without replacement. Without replacement means dependent. Find the probability that all the 3 are defective. Fine enough. Naturally, it is to be done one after another. First pick. Probability of picking a defective piece. Number of defectives are 3, number of elements are 10, so it comes to 3 by 10. After finishing this, probability of second peak where first peak is already done. So number of defective pieces left are 2 and total number of picks remains, number of item remains 9. So it comes to 2 by 9. The third thing, probability of picking a defective in a third trial, naturally it would be 1 less, it would be 1 upon 8. Here there is a mistake. Since the events are dependent, it is not independent. Since the events are dependent, probability of all the 3 are defective is nothing but product of individual probabilities, conditional probabilities. So probability of first defective is 3 by 10. Second defective where first defective is already chosen, so it is 2 by 9, which is the conditional probability. Third peak, which is 1 upon 8, where first and second peak is already done. 2 defectives are already done. So making the product of all these 3, it comes to 1 upon 120. Right? Let us have one more example. A certain player, say X, is known to win with the probability 0.3 if the trick is fast and 0.4 if the trick is slow. For Monday, there is 0.7 probability of fast trick and 0.3 probability of having a slow trick. What is the probability that player X will win on Monday? Just separate the events. The probability that player will win on Monday if the trick is fast. If the trick is fast, the possibilities are 0.7 multiplied by 0.3, which comes to 0.21. The probability that player will win on Monday if the trick is slow, then 2 probabilities are being multiplied as 0.3 multiplied by 0.4, which comes to 0.12. Naturally, any one of these 2 may occur. Probability of winning on Monday is required. So whether first happens or a second happens, since the connector is OR, those 2 possibilities are being summed up. So it is probability that player X will win on Monday becomes 0.21 plus 0.12 becomes 0.33. Is it clear? Fine. Let's have another example. A box contains 4 defective and 6 good electronic calculators. 2 calculators are drawn out one by one without replacement. Without replacement means dependent. Dependent means conditional probability. Fine. What is required? What is the probability that the 2 calculators so drawn are good? Means both of them are good. Second one of the 2 calculators so drawn is tested and found to be good. What is the probability that other one is also good? Let us say it. Both of them are good. First thing first. 2 calculators so drawn are good. Okay. First try means the first selection can be done in a naturally probability becomes 6 upon 10. After happening of first means that good calculator is selected. Now number of good calculators left are 5. Number of elements means calculators left are 9. So that becomes probability of getting a second good calculator becomes 5 upon 9. Now both, when I say both of them are good, that means naturally it is nothing but intersection. Intersection means nothing but it is product of these two. So 6 upon 10 multiplied by 5 by 9 comes to 30 upon 90, which comes to 1 by 3. Good enough? So the probability of drawing both the calculators and they are of a good type becomes 6 upon 10 multiplied by 5 by 9, which comes to 1 upon 3. Now let us see second one. The probability of drawing one good calculator and the other defective calculator. What is that probability? 6 upon 10. Good. After selecting good, number of things left divided by it would be 9 because 9 calculators are left, of which defective are 4. So it comes to 4 by 9. So that probability becomes nothing but product of these two, which is nothing but 4 upon 15. Hence, the probability of drawing the other good calculator having already drawn one good calculator becomes 1 upon 3 divided by 1 upon 3 plus 4 upon 15. Simplifying it, it comes to 5 by 9. This is one of the approach we can address. We do have another approach even. Let us think of that another approach. If the second calculator is to be good, any one of the 5 good calculator is to be drawn out of the total of 9. Since one has already been drawn without replacement, and the required probability is 5 by 9. This can be done orally even. Right enough? Any one of these two different way one can address it and both of them are the correct one. Next example. An unbiased dice is tossed twice. Find the probability of getting a 4, 5 or 6 on the first toss and a 1, 2, 3 or 4 on the second toss. Fine enough. Very good example. Second one is from a pack of cards, 2 cards are drawn. The first being replaced before the second draw. First being replaced. Replaced means independent events. Find the probability that the first is a diamond and the second a king. Fine enough. Let us see one by one. Let us suppose event A is getting 4, 5 or 6 on the first toss. 3 possibilities. So probability of A becomes 3 upon 6. Let us suppose event B is getting 1, 2, 3 or 4 on the second toss. So probability of B becomes 4 by 6. So the required probability is, since the connector was N, Selector was, and it is to be multiplied. So probability of A multiplied by probability of B comes to 3 upon 6 multiplied by 4 by 6, 12 by 36, which comes to 1 by 3. Fine enough? Okay. Let us check the other example. A first card is a diamond card. So probability of A becomes 13 upon 52. The second card is a king card. That can be done with a probability 4 upon 52. Simplifying it, it comes to 1 upon 13. So the required probability is, as the connector was, and it is nothing but it is to be producted of. So probability of A multiplied by probability of B. Probability of A multiplied by B becomes 1 upon 4 multiplied by 1 upon 13, which comes to 1 upon 52. As it was given that events were independent, so directly a product, so that comes to 1 upon 52. Right enough? Let us switch to the another example. A candidate is selected for interview for 3 posts. For the first post there are 5 candidates, for the second there are 8, and for the third there are 7. What are the chances of his getting at least one post? Getting at least one post. Word at least is used, that means union is required, right? Fine enough. Candidate is selected for the first post. Let us denote this event as A. Selected for the second post becomes B, and selected for the third post, let us take this event as C. So probability of A becomes 1 upon 5, probability of B becomes 1 upon 8, and probability of C becomes 1 upon 7. Now all these probabilities are known to us, so we can get probability of A complement, probability of B complement, probability of C complement as nothing but 1 minus probability of A, 1 minus probability of B, 1 minus probability of C. So if probability of A is known to us, probability of A complement becomes 4 upon 5. Probability of B is known to us, which is 1 upon 8. That means probability of B complement becomes 1 minus probability of B, which comes to 7 upon 8. Probability of C is 1 upon 7. So probability of C complement becomes 1 minus probability of C, which is 1 minus 1 upon 7, comes to 6 by 7. Now what is the required probability? Required probability is nothing but probability of A union B union C. Probability of A union B union C is nothing but 1 minus probability of A complement multiplied by probability of B complement multiplied by probability of C complement. So all these probabilities are known to you. So it comes to 1 minus 4 upon 5 multiplied by 7 by 8 multiplied by 6 by 7. Simplifying it, it comes to 1 minus 3 upon 5, which is 2 upon 5. Is it clear? I hope it is clear. Next example. A policeman fires 6 bullets on a dacoit. The probability that the dacoit will be killed by 1 bullet is 0.6. What is the probability that the dacoit is still alive? Fine enough. Success. Bullet will hit the dacoit, which is given to you as 0.6. It will not hit the dacoit, which is nothing but complementary of this, which is Q. Q is nothing but 1 minus P. 1 minus 0.6 comes to 0.4. So required probability is, look what the problem is. What is the probability that the dacoit is still alive? How many bullets are being fired? 6 bullets. So every time he fails, a policeman fails. That means failure. Failure in first, failure in second, failure in third, fourth, fifth and sixth, which is nothing but Q multiplied by Q multiplied by Q, Q, Q and Q. That means it is Q raised to 6. Q raised to 6 means it is 0.4 raised to 6, and further simplifying it, it comes to 0.004096. That becomes probability that the dacoit is still alive. Right enough? Next one. 3 contractors A, B and C are bidding for the construction of a new cinema hall. Some expert in his industry believes that A has exactly half the chance that B has. B in turn is 3 upon 5th chance as likely as C to win the contract. What is the probability that each to win the contract if the experts' estimates are accurate? Let us see. Very intelligent question. Just observe it. Let the probability of C's winning the contract is X. So the probability of B's winning becomes 3 upon 5 multiplied by X. Fine enough. So the probability of A's winning becomes half. So 1 half multiplied by 3 upon 5 multiplied by X becomes 3 upon 10 times X. Hence the probability of winning by A, B and C, which is 3 upon 10 X, then 3 upon 5 X, which is equal to X. Multiplying by X, multiplying by 10 all the sides, so it comes to 3x, then 6x, then 19x, or you can say which is nothing but 3 upon 19, 6 upon 19 and 10 upon 19. This 19 came from 10 plus 6 plus 3, that comes to 19, so that is why it is divided by 19. Right? Is it clear? Let us skip it up to this. Right?